Welcome back. Let's continue on with the film and TV news, long form episode. First up, there's again all of those from Deadline is for Ben Stiller and Grey's Anatomy nemesis Jessica Chastain to lead of a new Apple TV Plus limited series, The Off Weeks. Now, if you don't know, Apple TV Plus will go on relationship with Ben Stiller, especially in the recent the documentary of her parents, Jerry Stiller, and especially of course, the director of the TV series and creator of the TV series, The Severance, was calling a lot of attention on Emmys. But this has become the more successful show. However, he declined to do a first season because he but is still retaining the executive producer. He working on another project which going to be more serious way. Was going to be a start was going to be a World War II movie. It's going to starring with going to be direct along with Jeremy Allen White was going to be starred. It is from A24. So this is more an industry one, and I think that this is more the new direction, and I think that it's pretty much Jessica Chastain was all Hollywood appear in the new Apple TV Plus series we'll talk about in a second. So the Zeppelin. So let's do a read together. Apple TV Plus has to pick up the 8 episode limited series, The Off Week, starring and executive produced by Jessica Chastain and Ben Stiller. Yeah, this is coming to projects including Jules and Tammy. It's pretty much not a sequel or a spin-off of the Eyes of a Tammy Faye. I don't know. This is not related. I mean, I'm not even sure this is got an Oscar-winning performance, but it related. I'm not. What are you talking about? Anyway, I must mention that Jessica Chastain was gone of the Hollywood Walk of Fame event was along with the acting mentor Al Pacino, along with the co-stars of The Health, Viola Davis and Octavia Spencer. So there's that. So I've probably seen on Hollywood Walk of Fame type way. So I probably other people including Buster Rhymes and all that stuff. So Michael Soul Alter, the idea of you and the dropout will be direct and the second produced alongside Alison Nutty, Made for Love, who will also serve as showrunner. The project follow writing producer Gus Adden, who divorced half through his life into the chaos. He struggled to hold things together during the on weeks when he was custody of she's kids, but in his week offs, he's falling dangerously in love with his Celeste, a mysterious woman who avoided the gods on week duties on off weeks emulations of their favorable Colosseum course. Stiller and Chastain previously together on the animated film and the Castle 3, Europe's Most Wanted. Never that movie. I saw that movie back in 2012, and in fact, Noah Baumbach wrote the story. This is from DreamWorks, of course. Lead to the voice of the Alex, Lion, and Gia, and Jaguar, respectively. Stiller and Showalter to work together in the Apple TV Plus miniseries The Street Next Door, which stars again Paul Rudd and Will Ferrell. A week was produced from the Apple TV Plus by Weep. The series was shown, run, and except produced by Nutty. Stiller's except produced for the Red Hour alongside John Rhys, and Chastain except produced alongside Kerry Carmichael from Flicky Films. Show author who directed and directed this project is Semi Forder Films, except produced alongside Jordan Marklet, Paul Lee, and Gabriel Fisher, along except produced for Weep. Peter P. Cinco, Alan Fisher, and Brian Steinberg, produced from the authors first. Dean Polakis, Mayor Love also served as executive producer. The project in the expansion of the Stiller relationship with the streamer, Apple TV Plus, of which then celebrate the success of the Alex Scott-led series Severance at the Emmy Awards. The show received the 27 nominations in which including the outstanding lead actress of Britt Lauer, as well as the outstanding supporter actor and guest actress in the drama series for Tamer Timmer and the Mrs. Weeby, respectively. Up next, Stiller will premiere a documentary featuring Stiller and Mira, Nothing is Lost from Apple TV Plus, too. The series should be seen in the Apple TV upcoming Apple original thriller, The Sablet, will premiere in next week, August 26th, September 26th, which is she also executive produced. So I think this is more the direction. Like whenever the scenes for the postcard miniseries on HBO stars Dead Stain along with Isaac, I was wondering this is based off the Ingmar Bergman's movie. If you're familiar, is a Swedish filmmaker. I knew him, but I don't know he's Swedish. But I know there's a couple of films like the Sesame and the Funny and Alexander. So I thought that this movie is more like a direction. So this is more like dramatic way, not a comedy way, like dramatic comedy way, like no dramatic way, like so not even comedy. With since Stiller was a comedian, so yeah, I agree with what happenings to do, and I think the Apple TV Plus project's gone a lot of attention. Even the Ted Lasso and the recent the Studio series has gotten a lot of attention from the Emmys. Become more successful, especially with Seth Rogen. So we'll see, but I hope to see what happens. But we'll when casting choices went on the way soon. And number two, the Troopers, Super Troopers. That is that. Hannah Simon and Iqbal Leban will be cast in the new first Super Trooper movies. If you don't know Super Trooper, I haven't seen the first and the second one. I'm gonna watch on Disney Plus, but this is the film was pretty much become what before the. This is back when the first one was the first two was not on the first Sunlight Pictures, Fox Sunlight Pictures. Now under the Disney air ownership was now Sunlight Pictures. So this is more like a direction. Like the first film is more like if um, if the academy could be better. So it's like the Super Troopers would like to be like a police academy franchise. It's more like a time way. So this is more a very more than the Galilee release on maybe on not on Disney Plus, rarely released in theaters or hey even Hulu too. So if you're not as familiar, so I'm gonna talk about. So yeah, I'm gonna continue on. Hannah Simone from New Girl and Iqbal Deban from Glee are the newest editions of to the Super Trooper 3's, the latest installment of the franchise for the comedy troupe Broken Lizard and Sunlight Pictures. Details, characters details on the wraps, and as the plot of the freak world, Broken Lizard's Jake Cassisikon is directing for the script written by the group and the franchise veteran Richard Pellone producing. In addition, in the Canada Scala, Broken Lizards Kevin Heffernan, Steve Niemi, Paul Shorter, and Eric Sokaski all feature in the cast once again. Others on the board, including Brian Cox, Melissa Cawthon, Nat Faxon, Chance Caulfield, and Andrew Dismuke. Creative excited Apollo Belly, VP production Richard Roots, and the creative excited Daniel Yu are oversee the production for Searchlight, reporting for the co-heads of the film production and director Dan Tan Nguyen and Kate Houston Thomas. Principal production photography is on the way. Super Troopers is a cult hit comedy franchise created by Brooklyn Lizard, revolving around the shenanigans of the group of Redmond street troopers who are stackers, pranksters first and foremost. And this is the first film released through the Fox Searchlight in 2001 after being acquired at the Sundance Film Festival, and it got on the win of the Audience Award at South by Southwest. This is came from the mid early 2000s when edgy thing was become like Jackass, Scary Movie, and all that stuff. Comedy, the 2000s comedies was become a new thing, but I think that's pretty much go all like the sex stars like Will Ferrell and Steve Carell and Paul Rudd. So more like in a new era, like in the early 2000s, and like I mean, this pretty much they heard is more comedies. They familiar with the work with Judd Apatow, but if you're not familiar, it's basically Super Trooper 2 arrived 12, 17 years later, and like the original film, it was directed by the director. Can't pronounce it yet. Again, with entire Broken Lizard crew and writer and story. So I'm gonna watch on Disney Plus. So we'll see. like I said. The new Super cast member Simone recently starring on the ABC Hulu series Not That Yet, opposite Gina Rodriguez. Previous he starred on Fox hits second New Girl opposite Soren Chanel and Jake Johnson's in 20 ABC and 20 pilot The Greatest American Hero, and the CBS comedy pilot Welcome to Georgia, which she also produced. Samo also created, executive produced, and then starred in the ABC's comedy pilot Hannah. On the big screen, he appeared in the Band 8, directed by and starring Zoe Lisa Jones, as was a Kid Gunter alongside Arnold Schwarzenegger and Taya Graham. The latter was directing. And I know I think that Kid Gunter was pretty much the mediocre film. This is like the SNL skit in future in Stretch Out. Like this isn't in Wayne's Ward or MacGruber. So yeah, about that. And to continue on, Freibad, best known as the second winning role as Principal Frickens in the Fox Lee, and the prediction stars in the sixth seasons, as well as a role in Baba in in Family's Pachidinant and on the Hulu's Daddy Boys. He will start in the next thing except produce of the indie Days on the Digma, whatever. I don't know what the heck this is, which has started this fall. Recently, also in the Ukrainian opposite Holy Hunter and Mark Douglas, and the Fratellate opposite Bruce Dern and Julian Omot. Um, so I probably know I haven't seen this for, like I said, I haven't seen the first two, but I will watch on Disney Plus someday. But this third one was go more like a ensemble cast. The one was actor from New Go, and the other was from the actor from Lee. So I'm only gone relationship for it's a 20th Century brand, that 20th Century Studios, the non-sport TV division, 20 TV, that we're going to do an happening. So, and if you were not familiar with that franchise, this is more like in direction than innovating like of a Police Academy franchise. So, what will be happening soon? Who knows? Maybe release in theaters, or maybe straight on Disney Plus or Hulu. So, who knows? And speaking of that, the owning by Disney. Surprise, surprise! Camp Rock 3 is already greenlit by Disney, with Jonas Brothers reprising role, along with David Romano will be executive produced. So, if you don't know what Camp Rock is, if you're in the teenage audience more familiar with Disney related content, not even Hannah Montana or the original place of wherever the heck this is, or further place, I don't know. Wait, hold a second. The Wizards of Waverly Place, or an all models pretty much seen on Nickelodeon at the time, I probably copied that's the Disney formula. That the House of Mouse will announce the Cat Rock 3 was begin on board from on Disney Plus and non Disney Plus. And I think this is going to be innovative. Like same goes with the High School Musical film. Third film was might be released in theaters, but instead of airing on TV, it was airing on the screening on the big screen back in 2008 or 2009. The movie has become popular in the box office, and the first two air on TV, and then the and the third one was released in theaters, not on TV. It's like not this is not a made for TV movie. It's like this movie is originally meant to make for TV movie, but now it's released in theaters because of popularity. So yeah, this is going to be a huge surprise from the House of Mouse, and especially Disney Channel fans base. So I know this is going to be in a huge direction, but Jonas Brothers and I heard the couple of months ago. Um, that doing the Jonas 20 tour that Nick Jonas Brothers reunite with Demi Romano at the Greens for Your Hometown tour. That's pretty much the end confirmed. It might be happening. Many people are saying if Jonas Brothers reunite with David Rolando, might reunite to do new Cam Rock movie that I want to do a long time, and it was announced on the deadline. So here we go. It's official. Camp Rock 3 is in the works. Disney branded television today confirmed that the third installment of the franchise has greenlit from Disney Plus and Disney Channel, with Jonas, Nick, and Kevin Jones's return. Theirs in the reprise of their roles. Camp Rock alum Damon Lamano also returned to the executive produce along with the Jonas Brothers. Filming got underway this week at Vancouver, Canada, eh? New cast joined in the film are Limani Sigrea from Descendants Wicked Wonderland as Stitch, Malachi Patton, summing for Dawn of the Vampires as Fletch, Lumi Polak, that's actually another son of the Simi Polak, from Electric Boom as Rose, newcomer Hudson Stone as Disease, Casey Trott from the Frontmans, that's actually a Nickelodeon show, as Cliff was not related for the character, Brad Pitt's character from Griff Proof from the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood movie from Quentin Tarantino, of course, Brooklyn Pitts as Cabby, and Ava Jane as Madison. John Jonas will reprise her role as Shane Gray, Nick Gray, and Kevin as Jason Gray, respectively. Guest starring as the members of the band Connect Three. Also returning is Mary Carras Barella, Wizard of the Raven Place as Connie, and Sherry Cola. That last name is pretty much sounds like the Stone brand cola brand. I don't know. Dollar Store cover brand. I don't know what it is. From Joyride to join the franchise as Locke. And yes, that movie was starring alongside one of the stars of Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. Go figure. Anyway, the story will pick up when the Cadet 3 losing the opening act from the major reunion tour. Sounds familiar. Yeah, it was Jonas Brothers. Yeah, I know. I know that James Corden would not involve that. Returning to the beloved Can Rock to discover the next big thing. As the campers vial of the chancel open to their favorite band, tensions rise and the friendships are tested. Leading the unexpected alliances, revolution, and romance, Can Rock all rock, all new campers, including the border and Dementia stage, Segura and his easygoing brother DC, Stone, Cheryl Polachi, Rose, Wallach, drummer with his best own gift, Taller. That's not even a name is. I know that name, whatever the heck this no name is, but hey, it still works. Wonderful Queen, colorful Queen Callie Pitt in Melody Inferso, Madison, Jean, and Cam Bad Boy Fletch Potter. Okay, so this is A.O. Davis had this statement about Cat Rock 3 was discovered legacy was renewed. Cat Rock is an important part of the Disney Channel original movie legacy with unforgettable music, elaborate storytelling, and the characters that live in the hearts of the fans to this day. Bring it back with Kevin, Joan, and Nick and Demi is a search for the circular moment, and we can't wait till we introduce this world to the new generation. That is Generation X, C, V, or whatever the heck this is. Camp Rock from 2008 and Camp Rock the Final Gem from 2010, respectively, although the sequel was remarked to the final project, the final movie, but it got on hiatus, but now reunited, but it still works. All along to the top 10 Disney Channel original movies of all time, and the number one cable movie premiere of their years for a premiere per Macy's and Disney. The franchise, starring superstar talent, continued to permeate in pop culture more than 50 years after they debuted. Directed by Rilka Rodriguez from Slumber Party, and written by Eddie Fay for Slumber Party. And the movie was produced by Disney branded television, featuring choreography by Jamal Sims. Yeah, that name is not related with the Molly Sims, so it's not even a great multicultural person. Team Ferdinand, the High School Musical, the series. That made no sense. That name make no sense. That removed the musical with High School Musical the series. That title make no sense. I don't know. Except produced along with Joe Jonas, Nick Jonas, Kevin Jonas, David Lamato, Betsy Sukin, Spencer Berman, and Bob Gary Marsh. So I have been excited for that. I haven't seen the first two since I was a kid. I haven't seen that in my life. But I would say Camera 3 was going to be a new and better improvement. This is kind of the reboot of that franchise. It's not kind of high school musical go to reboot with the TV series. We already did, but this one was more like a new direction. The same had the Jonas Brothers roles and brought a new cast without Demi Lovato, but because it was absent. So we'll see what happens. But this is a huge turning point of the Disney money machine, and especially House of Mouse. But I think this is going to be a new direction of the new era of Ken Rock. So I hope to see what happens. And Jonah Brothers and are reunited with Demi Lovato on stage, and then made a TV series. Although Demi Lovato was not going to be reprising the role for obvious reasons, but it's still have the executive producer. So like, we see what happens. We begin filming this week in Canada, and what happens. And another Disney related news I would talk about. It's I'm not talking about that Disney related, but I'm to talk about the IP we're familiar with is the Muppet Show. I'll go be back with a reboot, was produced by Seth Rogen's and Evan Gerber's Poor Great Pictures. It was going to be starring, going to be a special guest, the fellow Disney alumni Sabrina Carpenter. Will premiere next year in condition of the 50th anniversary of the original The Muppet Show series. This is familiar. The Muppet Show was gone popular particularly airing on US and even in UK. Yeah, back on ITV franchise in London or before London, and now Midlands in ATV and later Central. But familiar that show, the Muppet Show was probably become what preferred as the Muppet, more like a puppet show started mostly in this cast and crew. That the word preferred as the Muppet Show was pretty much familiar with that top shows pretty much appeared in more back in the day in the 70s, was led by Jim Henson, rest in peace, and he's been there for a long time and it's become well preferred. Cameron Fraud, Miss Piggy, and a lot of others. So here's a report from Deadline, and I will talk about it in a second. So the Muppet Show is making a comeback with a reboot produced by Seth Rogen and Ever Gilmore's Blueprint Pictures. Disney Plus has ordered a television event featuring a special guest star, Sabrina Carpenter, to premiere in 2026 next year, including with the 50th anniversary of the classic original shows. The variety special will serve as the backdoor pilot and in the successful response of the new Muppet Show TV series. The event, labeled as a Muppet pilot, was filmed in Los Angeles. It received a $1.6 million tax credit from the California Film Commission last month. For 20 TV, Disney Planet Television, the Muppet Studio, and Portrait Pictures only installed it with the features of Kermit the Frog, Miss Piggy, Frosty Bear, Gonzo, and the gang as they return of the Muppet Theater to produce the reality show. One of the Muppet fans, or if you know, is the Moptown Funk. That's a title was related to the Bruno Mars and Mark Ronson song Uptown Funk. Back in, I mean, this song was turned 10 years old. I love it. He's a huge Muppet fan. He did a lot of cover videos about that, and then announced that 2 weeks ago that the new Muppet Show production was gone on video was going to predict that it will be happening, but it's already happening according to the deadline. So this is going to be interesting one. I think Sabrina Carpenter might going to be guest star. It's going to be more like a if you are not this the recent album Man's Best Friend and the special last album Show the Street will be included songs like Espresso, Please Please Please, Man Shout, and Tears. But I hope this the Muppet Show reboot would turn it down all the songs in between like Espresso, Please Please Please, Man Chow, and Tears were more not allowed to say profanity or all that stuff. We're probably not allowed for all the children's programs since Sabrina Carpenter was wants to be a Disney a lot channel alum and also will become a well known as with a couple of years and now it become a pop star thanks to albums like Soul Sweet and more recently Man's Best Friend. So I hope this is not going to be happening. And this song is might going to be a family friendly approach, but I not remove the edit parts of like stuff, strong language stuff like between Espresso, Please Please Please, Tears, and Benchow, but it's happening today, so I pretty much going to be releasing on more like a family play approach. I mean, like they were recent Netflix holiday special lately. Yeah, and they continue. The special was written by the Alitina Risso, that's Italy, and directed by Alex Timbers, who serves as the Sega producers alongside Capita, as well as Rogan, Goldberg, James Weeby, and Alex McKay, Kate from Point Create Pictures, David Lightbody, Light Slogger, and Michael Steenbach from the Muppet Studio, and Matt Walker and Eric Jacobson. Visited Muppet performers Bill Broblett, David Coates, Eric Jacobson, Peter Lynch, David Rodman, and Matt Wold will return to reprise the minority and equality Muppet characters in the special, joining addition performers. Coates has been for the Muppets for over the 50 years, has been of the cast since the first Muppet Show, and originally the characters Gonzo and Dr. Bruce Holly Drew along with others. Capito has spoken in love with the Muppets for years, including Listen Kermit, her favorite Hollywood great, in an interview years ago, and challenging Miss Picking in the outfit at the VMAs earlier this month. Ah, that's cute. Um, the Muppet Show, created by Jim Henson, ran in 1971 and 81, was airing in over 100 countries, including UK, would air on ATV UK, part of the ITV, before then changed to Central Television because like franchisees thing was gone. A lot of changes on the TV. It featured notable guest stars including Elton John, Johnny Cash, Diana Ross, David Herring, Gladys Knight, Lisa Minnelli, Paul Simon, and many others. The series earned an Emmy, Grammy, Peabody, and BAFTA. Yes, the British Film Academy Awards, TV Awards. I know this is from UK. If you're UK viewers know that because the Muppet Show became popular in the UK, and various other awards. All 5 seasons of the Muppet Show are currently available to stream on Disney Plus. This is the latest Muppet project for Disney Plus, formerly the Muppets Haunted Mansion Special and the Muppets Mayhem series. The company is looking to further mine the IP. Rogan on hand with one for 4 Emmys on Sundays for the Apple TV Plus. The studio was the executive producer. Yeah, I've seen this series, but I think this is not as good to remember. But the studio was pretty much gone. Remember, it was become the fine Apple TV Plus and along with F1. But even though I know even the upcoming John Cena, Kevin Hart action comedy film from Netflix could be described as the Fall Guy meets the studio. I don't know, but maybe a cameos with the major actor stars, like say Stallone, Schwarzenegger, John Von Clan, or and don't say Steven Seagal. He's a becoming the most like hated actor, sure no. And more recent like Matt Damon or like Scott Acton. So we're never knowing other actor. Oh, Jason Statham. That other some actor stars from it. So yeah, I never even say that. So we will see. But anyway, as the studio, we will see season 2 is in gone renewed. So we'll see what happens. But but as for the Muppet Show, I've been 100% excited for that, and I will be shout out to the Mudtown Funk and a video on YouTube about the topics and a bunch of videos about related to the Muppets and Sesame Street video. And then because since PBS, I know that's pretty mentioned that PBS was on ended agreement, but this is pretty much the ongoing success. Even the net and recent videos, like including Netflix, pick up the future seasons of Sesame Street after Warner Brothers Discovery and more specifically HBO decided ended in agreement entirely, but Netflix on board, and then PBS remained airing before eventually caught funded by Donald Trump and decided to shut it down, the Corporation of Public Broadcasting. So I'm excited for that, and that's pretty much the Subdue Copter's fan base is go for a younger audience. I mean, the recent album, like Man's Best Friend, has caused a lot of controversy lately, so I think we're happening soon. So stay tuned. It's gonna be a more it's gonna be a backwards pilot, but this is gonna be more like a if this and this problem was going to be successful, mostly of Sabrina Carpenter's fan base. This is going to be more than turning into the series if Sabrina Carpenter was going to be a guest starring role of that show. So we will see. And I believe that two different Disney Plus project was going to be a huge turning point next year. So I'm looking forward to that. But now leads us to the darkest side of the entertainment industry. But now to talk about that, I'm talking about the one of the biggest in for the video game franchise has gone the rebooting led by the director of Weapons and Bob Reagan. Take it away, Caddy.
Resident Evil Zero.
That's right. The Zack Reader was on board to direct of the next Resident Evil movie from Sony Pictures, and it casting Paul Walter Hauser, fresh off of the MCU Fantastic Four movie and the Naked Gun reboot, along with joining alongside Austin Abrams. From the Phobia series, if you've seen that. I don't know what the Phobia is, but he's been in a lot of projects lately. He's a younger actor. He gained a film debut in the Gangster Squad with the director Rupert Feister, and it was marked the reunion of before La La Land was Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone. But other films including Brad Status, Chemical Hearts, Do Revenge was the film where it stars alongside Camilla Mendes and Maya Hawke. So yeah, as well as the supporting roles in King of the Summer, Paper Town, Strategy Stories, Starting Go, and Wolves. It was a Brad Pitt and Joe Clooney movie, and one biggest one is the Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. That I watched. Yeah, I saw a few years ago, and I like that. But and as well the recent film Weapons, who the same directors, Zach Krieger, were also directing, and also will appear in the TV series, including the in premieres on ATV, as well the fifth and sixth seasons of AMC's Walking Dead series, as well the fourth and fifth seasons of This Is Us, and a Netflix romantic miniseries Dash and Lily, and known the best role as Ethan Daly of the HBO's psychological teen drama series Euphoria, co-produced in A24, and we becoming the first year recruitable cast member of the first season, but now become a second. And I mean, the first season was on my big plan, but commit to filming a new Resident Evil movie, but we'll see. And also, the director Zach Weaver and of the Resident Evil movie was re-teamed with the film producers from Verico TV, which are fresh off of movies like Rolly, of course, was fresh off of a Minecraft movie, Chameleon, A Long Walk from Lionsgate, and Dawn to Dawn movie from director David Allen Sandberg from Sony Pictures through Queen James label, and more recently Weapons, because because also all the three which from Warner Brothers, including the New Line Cinema label. So yeah, back to what I was saying. Paul Walter Hauser was probably Gone the Gone Breakthrough actor who started appeared in the Gone the Breakthrough performance in the Antonia movie with oh, sorry about that. Someone calling. Um, if you know Paul, if you know that he got a pretty role role in the movie I Tonya opposite Margot Robbie and Sebastian Stan, because the director Greg Ulisi found an actor in the audition in the new movie casting choices in the movie, and I found this actor, so he agreed to do in the movie I Tonya was probably got a lot of attention, and then later reunite with the director in the Disney's Cruella movie. So back in 2021, when again the release in the pandemic, this release in theaters on Disney Plus, whatever. Uh, anyway, let's continue on that, and I will talk about and some other films and follow suit the recent films, including the MCU Fantastic Four movie and the Naked Gun reboot opposite Liam Neeson and Pamela Anderson. Yeah, the girl from Baywatch series. It's got got new interest, of course. Anyway, if you probably saw it on the streaming service, mostly on Netflix. Anyway, um, so let's go on. Following this is Sex or Weapons, writer-director Zach Weaver is getting the heels in motion of the next horror thriller but the video game twist. It's also said on Deadline that Paul Walter Hauser is set to join Oscar Abrams in creator new adaptation of Resident Evil for Sony Pictures. Creeper is directing the film, which is based on the Capcom's popular horror video games. He also co-wrote the script with Shay Hatton. Considine is producing and co-finance the pick. I think this might be distributed in Germany, but German people were because that movie is called popular in Germany. And yeah, Constantine Robert Kusnit will produce will as well Vertigo Entertainment, Rolly and Mini Yoon, and the PlayStation Productions asking Kupibash and Carter Swan, Constantine Olivia Benin and David's film Victor Hadid as an RX producer. Okay, the last one it's primarily distributed in France by Metropole Film Expo or Metropole Films, and as well co-distributed with Sony Pictures. Like I know that Metropole was producing mostly, unlike in French, in mostly old film Hollywood films, mostly independent film companies. Like I mentioned, New Line Cinema, Lionsgate, and A24, Blackbird Pictures. Now, I'm not even to tell you that. The film international film market was more like a discrete, more in streaming service like Netflix, Prime Video, Disney Plus, etc. But even though the sport movie studios are more different, so if you're familiar with that company, I think that's pretty much these core film companies are more international way. Let's take another example. SF Studios and Nordic Film was a Nordic film company who Hollywood releasing more like a films that appear to kind of audience, like SF had Ingmar Bergman or P.P. Lockstalking, or more recent like the films from auteur filmmakers who go on, like Joseph Fares or a lot of others. But and the movies were like. And especially the recent films for director Crazy Pictures did two films like the Probsten Tiden That Coleman and UFO Sweden. So I know this is pretty much more like a and like in a more mature film company that's one of the and hey even Nogi's film was probably known directors like that author one art house filmmaker. I'm not saying that. And more recent like the Olsen Banden movies was pretty much popular in Denmark and was pretty familiar with in Olsen Banden. Yeah, in blood. That's a catchphrase. So, and even the Familia Ligason was pretty much the film had to be we got a reboot last year. So this pretty much the what prefer the Yaha and Plan territory. So, and TriStar Pictures president Nicole Brown is overseen for production for Sony. Um, yeah, and it might be released. It might be the release. Yeah, I'm not sure this movie's released under the Sony Pictures labels like Columbia Pictures, TriStar Pictures, or Screengems, but I'm not sure what happen anytime soon. So plot details on this pick on the wraps, but the previous Resident Evil movies were a mix of horror, sci-fi, and action. Um, that follows an adventure of a heroine who fights zombies in the Umbrella Corporation, not to confuse with the Umbrella Company, which is a Australian film distribution company that made no sense. Um, that's probably known the genre films, recent like a Silent Hill movie, and so because yes, this is the same producer who did the Resident Evil movie, but yeah, and the recent Taxi Avenger movie was probably distributed because audience know what genre audience that what it is in Australia. Yeah, it's pretty, and yeah, and also that the company changed to simply Umbrella, so that's not a name after the Rihanna song, of course. The Bioware warfare company that let loose the monsters. Sony Pictures had um, is releasing the film Philadelphia on September 18, 2026, next year. Sony distributed all the previous Resident Evil films. We have, of course, more than the $1.2 billion worldwide, making it the highest grossing video games based movie franchise. Now, I'm not even sure that because these, excluding in Germany and France, they were handled by Cosmini Film and the Metropolitan Films or Metropolitan Film Exos. But I think this is going to be more like a direction for all the thing. But I think this is pretty much the new turning point, and I think that. It's pretty much in a new era. Like I think that this film's been international markets were between Sony, between Constantine and Metropolitan was more the film companies. Like and Italy had Eagle Pictures. That's pretty much the genre film company was had a distribution between Sony Pictures and of course um, Paramount Pictures. Now this is pretty much the industry one, so I hope to see what happens. And even the quotes distribute with Sony Pictures, but in between Germany and France. But anyway, is best known as for starring in Apple TV Plus crime drama limited series Blackbird, starring alongside the late great Ray Rolado, which he received Emmy and Golden Globe and Critics' Choice Awards in addition to the SAG Award nomination. He has he has had himself a busy 2025, starring three films for the past summer alone. In Fantastic Four, the first steps as the audience's favorite Mole Man in Paramount's Mickey Gunn as Ed Hawkins Jr., the straight man partner to Liam Neeson's Frank Drebin Jr., and yes, that this one of which was marked the final film before the Paramount Skydance merger was completed. And and they given them another an emotional performance playing the military veteran in Lionsgate's modern day Western Americana opposite the new Sydney Sweeney herself. I mean, sorry, the Sydney Sweeney, okay, aka the new um, Richard Sigler. So I'm sorry about that. I pretty much know what to talk about. I confused a lot. Anyway, earlier this year, Hauser starring the IFC films The Luckiest Man in America. It was like supposedly, yeah, I know this is going to be like the similar in the vein of Woman of an Hour, starring and directed by Anna Kendrick, but it's not as good better that. So yeah, we were premiered at the Toronto Film Festival last year in 2024 last year to rate reviews for the performance actor performance. Up next, he seasons is in the 20th century Bruce Springsteen biopic, The Boss himself, in the Academy for Nowhere opposite Jeremy Allen White, you probably know as from the aforementioned the Bear series fame, you know. Also recently wrapped the production of the Amazon's NGM Studios action comedy Balls Up, as well as in Brian Sweeper's community theater, the Really Best People, as well as, and it is derivative of the New Night Cinema's Chris Foley's biopic Foley. So yeah, I think this is going to be a more interesting one, and I think that Paul Walter Hauser's career was for me since Tonya days, and now become the world's important actor. Is pretty in the new generation. That's like he's a more comedic and more like a actor way. But I want to mention that because the French voice of Paul Walter Hauser was actually Christine Limoni. You know Paul known as the French voice of Codman from South Park series, as well as the franchise and also the French voice of Sean Astin from Lord of the Rings franchise. If you're familiar with this person, he's for French voice actor, and he was been a lot, and he's been good friends with Dr. Bussaud, Donald Luxot, Nona Luxot, and Alexa Thompson was probably know the dubbing crew, like the more edgy like type brands like the dubbing crew. But if you're familiar with this person, he's pretty know that he's in the best known voice of French voice of Cartman for South Park. So and he been a lot since Itonia, excluding a few projects like Cruella and Fantastic Four movie, MCU Fantastic Four movie. But this is more the most important voice actors in France, but even if you're probably familiar with. So that said, I think Paul Walter Hall is familiar with this to more like type familiar. He's born in 1986, but this French voice actor became born in 8 years earlier. So I think that's not related, but this is familiar, like who voice pretty familiar, like it's like the common sounding voice that I'm familiar with. Anyway, for me, I would say that, but for me, I probably released in theaters in France by Metropolitan. But anyway, I'm excited for the new Resident Evil movie from Zack Reader of the Barbarian and Weapons fame, and I hope it's going to be better than the previous outing, starring directed by Paul Thomas, W.S. Anderson, and stars her wife Mila Jovovich. So we'll see what happens. So I hope it can be good. So I'm 100% excited for that, and I hope it's going to be the biggest movie ever. And this is came out of the same producing team of Cobain, a Minecraft movie, Weapons for Warner Brothers, Until Dawn and David S. Sandberg's film from Sony Pictures Green Chance label, and The Long Walk from, of course, from Francis Lawrence, The Long Walk movie from Lionsgate. So I would say Worley and especially the vehicle entertainment team were going to be happening anytime soon. So we'll see what happens next year on September. And that came out the um, happening was pretty much the movie releasing. So this is going to be amazing, and I hope the genre audience, the video game audience, is success of the Minecraft movie. Yes, it was the same producer, Rory, but I can't wait to see what happens. So there. Anyway, that concludes the long form special episode of Film and TV News. I would like I said, I give a shout out to Mobtown Funk. He made a lot. I probably mentioned to confirm that video was 2 weeks ago was going to be in production, but it's actually happening right now. So shout out to Monktown Funk. Go check out in the description, and I really respect the video. Check out the videos on related to the Muppets and Sesame Street related videos. So I would recommend to check this out, and I give it a subscribe or not. But go subscribe to Motown Funk in the description. And if you're watching this, I respect to you, Ty, and everyone. And I would be pretty known, but I'm not a huge fan of the Muppets, but you are the biggest fan of between Muppets and Sesame Street. So good luck for that, and especially good luck for that series. So yeah, and that's pretty much it. Let me know what to think in the comments. Give me a like this video, share your friends. Don't forget to subscribe and ring the notification bell where I keep you up to videos, any new future feature. And I'm gonna go say thank you for watching, thank you for listening, thank you so much for all the feedback, and I'll take you guys in the next video. And until then, keep watching on What Do You Mean. Good night, everybody.